we get a lot of comments asking us, how do I choose a fishing rod? How do I choose a fishing reel? If you're new to fishing and you're just starting out, picking your first rod or picking your first few rods is really important, because if you pick the wrong rod and you don't catch fish, and it's not the right rod for the situation, you're not gonna have fun fishing and you're just gonna give up really quick. Don't do that. I believe in you. All you need to do is listen to my advice. I'm gonna teach you how to pick the perfect rod for your lifestyle and the kind of fishing that you like to do. Okay, first thing you need to really think about is, what kind of lifestyle do you have? Do you travel around a lot and you wanna fish around all these different spots? Do you fish at the beach, the pier, the jetty? Do you want to just try it all and see which one you like? If so, you might be looking for a more versatile rod. Do you want to just stay on the beach and that's all you want to do is just beach fishing over and over again? If so, you might want a more specialized rod for the beach. I'm going to teach you how to distinguish the difference between the different rods. And it's actually really simple. Let me break it down. So you may be wondering, why would anyone ever need a rod this tall? Look at this, 13-foot rod. This is a very large rod, not a very versatile rod in my opinion. This is a very specialized rod. I use this for a few things. Just beach fishing, shark fishing, and to cast out really far. So if you are the kind of fisherman that likes to come to the beach or needs to cast their rod, needs to cast their bait really far out there for a big fish, and can handle really heavy weights, then a long, big rod is for you. The things that I use my really long rod for: shark fishing, so I can cast out really heavy baits; fishing for big red drum, where I'm casting a big heavy sinker and a big fish head. And also I use it so I can cast out my little baits really far for something like pompano. I would not recommend bringing this to a jetty. I do not recommend bringing this to like a pier or any other situation other than the beach pretty much. There's situations where you need to cast it really far out, like in a river setting, but honestly, for me, the 13-foot rod is a power rod. You wanna use this to cast out big baits really far. And the reel that I use with it matches the power. Okay, so this is an 8,000 size Shimano Twin Power. The Twin Power is really a powerful rod. It's really great workhorse, and I've got it spooled up with 30-pound braid on here. This matches the size of the rod. You don't want to use a little tiny reel on a really big rod. You want to use an appropriate sized reel on an appropriate sized rod. So now the big rod that I'm using, this 13-foot rod, is a Phoenix Black Diamond rod. I've used this rod for many years at this point. I find this to be really powerful, durable, sensitive, strong rod. I've been using this for many years and I really like this company, but there's many different companies that you can choose from. I just trust in my Phoenix Black Diamond rods. Other really nice companies that make good surf rods are Lamy Glass. I think Sinkers+Rigs makes some nice surf rods. Century makes really good surf rods, but these are all top-notch, really high-end rods. If you're looking for your first one, go with an ugly stick. A really big ugly stick, that's like a perfect beginner one because you can bang it up, you can throw it around, it will never break on you. It's a very strong, durable rod, not very sensitive, but very strong. When you really do like it and you really feel like you want to get a bigger, nicer rod and you're really ready to invest in a bigger, nicer, fancier rod, I say go for a Black Diamond, go for a Century rod, go for a Lamy Glass rod, but these are very specialized. You don't want to get this right off the bat, unless you got the dough for it. Now this is my shortest rod. Now you might be wondering, what do I do with a tiny rod like this? I mean, it's not very tall at all. Look, it's not even as tall as I am. This 6-foot rod, medium power, and I've got a little reel to go with it. Now, this is really good for very short casting situations where you're casting small things. You're not casting big baits on this whatsoever. You're casting little lures like this, small little egg sinkers. This is something I would use the mini sure catch with, or like just a regular sure catch fish finder rig, stuff that you don't need to cast super far. So this is really good for just a little inshore setting. So if I'm using this at the beach, I'm walking up here past the break and just casting, reeling it in, see if I can feel any fish. Casting, reeling it in, see if I can find anything. If I feel anything, set the hook, bring it in. Just a short casting rod. And this is really good too. Is this a perfect first rod? Maybe. If you want to fish in lots of different places, this is not the right rod for you though. This is mostly for short casting, casting small things, finesse fishing, inshore fishing. Now this rod, it makes smaller fish, way more fun to catch than something like this 13-foot rod here. That 13-foot rod is so powerful that you just pluck the fish right out of the water, it'll go flying to the moon. Whereas this, you really get to feel a good connection with the fish. So if you're looking for a little rod to catch smaller fish and to really feel the power of a smaller fish, this is the rod for you. This in particular is a St. Croix Triumph rod. It's a 6-foot medium power. It casts up to a little bit over ½ ounce, which is hardly any weight. So really only use this for small fish. Now this small rod is good for something like the pier or the jetty and you're just casting along the rocks, or a little boat. Nothing for anything casting really big, really far, catching massive fish. This is for small to moderate sized fish and casting little lures, little Carolina rigs with little pieces of bait on there. I wouldn't use this for anything that's too powerful. All the suggestions I'm giving you today is not just relevant for the beach. This goes for every kind of fishing I'm talking about here. Now, I've developed my own rod based on the criteria of I like to fish in all different places. If you're the kind of person that likes to fish at a jetty, at a pier, wherever you're going, you need to get your line wet. I recommend a more moderate, more versatile rod. Let's get into it. Now, this is my rod right here. You can see how portable it is, right? I can travel anywhere in the world with this. In fact, I'm going to Japan in about a few months, and I'm gonna take this rod and I'm gonna be able to fish anywhere I want in Japan because it fits right in my backpack. So easy. But the really awesome part about this is I developed this rod to be very versatile. It's not just good for the surf, it's good for literally every setting. Now, this might not be as specialized for you if you're looking for a really specialized pier rod or really specialized surf rod. But if you're the kind of fisherman that likes to fish everywhere, wherever you can get your line wet, this is the rod for you. And let me show you how easy it is to set up. So take a look. This is the carrying case right here. It's made of all neoprene. This is our second version of our fishing rod. The first version, it was not made of neoprene. I really wanted the neoprene here because it can get wet, provides more protection. It feels nicer in the hand, but it's super easy to set up. All you do is unravel it, open up the top. Here's the first piece right here. Look at how beautiful that is. You see, it's all carbon fiber. That makes it lightweight, but also really strong. Look at my rod. This is the ultimate test for the rod. Bring them in, bring them in. Woo! Oh my gosh. So I'm gonna take it out and set this up. It's 5 pieces, and when you push it together, don't shove it. Just make sure it just goes in and gently push it together like that. You don't wanna get it stuck. There, now it's all set up. Take a look. Look how tall it is. This is a 9'2" rod, but it feels like a 6-foot rod. It's so lightweight. And you know why? Because I designed it with all carbon fiber. From the bottom all the way to the tippy tip, all carbon fiber, very lightweight, sensitive rod. And by versatile, let me explain. I've caught 6-foot sharks using this rod, no problem. I've caught little small fish that felt really strong because it's so sensitive on it, and everything in between. During pompano season, this is my go-to rod. During every season, this is my go-to rod. I'm talking flounder, black drum, red drum, trout, every single thing you can name, this is pretty good for. Now, it's not the most specialized rod for, say, any individual fish, but it works really well for everything as a blanket rod. And if this is your first rod, I really recommend you get something like this. Perfect to travel, perfect to fish with, lightweight, and plus it just looks so cool too. This is our 9'2" rod, and I'm giving one of these away for free. Any beginner who really needs a fishing rod, this is the perfect one for you. You can travel anywhere with it, catch any kind of fish. I've caught massive 6-foot sharks down to small little bait fish, perfect for everything. I'm giving one away for free. Check in the description, I'm gonna show you how to win it. All right, so now to put the reel on, I'm putting my Shimano Stella on here. This is a perfect match for the rod. It's a really nice rod, so I need a really nice reel to go with it. And the Shimano Stella is not a beginner reel. If I were to recommend you a beginner reel, I would say just get an entry-level Shimano reel, such as a Stratic. I think a Stratic is a great one. A Saragossa is also a good one. These are not exactly the cheapest reels, but I still think it's a great first reel. You've got the time and you've got the money to spend on this fishing, might as well get something mid-range rather than low-end. This rod in particular can cast 1 to 3.5 ounces. 1 to 3.5 ounces, that's not bad. I can cast some pretty heavy weights and have it sit on the bottom there. That's what I'm gonna be using this rod for right now. I'm gonna tie a high-low rig on there and cast it out there. see what I can catch. So the size reel I recommend is a 3,000 size reel to a 5,000 size reel. This is a Shimano Stella 5,000, and it works really well because I like to catch a little bit bigger fish, and this gives me enough line to make sure if I hook something big enough, I won't spool me. But if you're not catching massive fish, you can do a smaller one. But I recommend 15 to 20 pound line with this rod. I have all these pre-tied rigs here in our bait box. And I really like the ones with the floats on here, because the floats, they provide an extra bit of color, an extra bit of flash, so when a fish sees it swimming by, it gets its attention, and it gives an extra edge to catch another fish. The floats also float the bait up, so it keeps it from tangling around the line, and it works really well. Not only do I have that, but I have all sorts of other rigs that you can use to catch fish right away. All you gotta do is open it up, tie it onto the main line, put a sinker on, and you're ready to fish. It's as simple as unraveling it, tying onto your main line, putting on a sinker, and casting it out. Now, if you don't know how to tie knots, I have many videos, instructionals on my website, heyskipperfishing.com. Super easy to learn when you learn from us. Because our mission here at Hey Skipper is to get you guys on fish. I know it's frustrating when you can't catch fish and you're trying over and over again and you're spending, a ton of money buying all the gear that's most of the time unnecessary. I know how to keep it simple. All it requires is just the simple gear like this, the right bait, and the right knowledge of where to cast the reel, where to cast your bait out. All right, I got it set up now. So you see the floats, these floats will keep your rig floating, your bait floating up like this, rather than down here and getting tangled up. It floats it up. As I mentioned before, I am giving away one of these absolutely for free to one of you lucky subscribers. I just want to give you a great fighting chance to just start catching fish. That's all we want to do here at Hey Skipper, is get you on fish, skip the frustration, because I understand. It is tough to get out there, not know what you're doing, waste a lot of time. We don't have infinite time in our lives. We just want to get out here and start catching fish, and I want to help you get to that point. Check in the description below. It's so easy to enter. Thank you guys for your support. I'm going to get fishing. See that? Right away. That's crazy. I literally just cast it. I cast it into what I thought was a hole, and I was right apparently, because I got one right away. Holy crap. That's the start of a good day. Let's see what we got. Let's hope it's a big fat whiting. Double. I got two at a time. What are they? No way. Two speckled trout at the same time. That is crazy. Are you kidding me? At the same time. Now, granted, these are undersized. I gotta let them go, but that is crazy. Two speckled trout in one cast on the beach. Look at that orange sinker. As soon as I casted it, I think that they saw the orange sinker. They smelled the shrimp. That is so wild. Take a look at these speckled trout. Now, that's why I use these high-low rigs here. These high-low rigs work really well because you can have a chance of catching two fish at a time. And it's nearly invisible, the hook. When it's hidden with the shrimp, all they see is a little shrimp floating around. But when you have a big steel leader or you have a massive hook, the fish see it and they don't want it. This is wild. I better get it back out there. These are undersized, so you gotta let them go. They're probably swimming together as a school. All right, so I've set up my rods now. I've got, oh. Wow, big fish, big fish. Oh, whoa, there's a bunch of mullet out there. I see a ton of bait fish out there. I knew I cast it in the perfect spot. Oh yeah. Well, I'm excited to see what this is. Hopefully it's a big speckled trout. Okay, it's a jack of all trades. These jacks, they get really big. This is just a baby one. And these are probably out there chasing the mullet. Jack Crevalle. All right, so what I'm gonna do right now is set up these rods. I've got a high-low rig on this one. I've got a big sinker and a big hook on the one all the way to the right. And if I catch any bait, I'm gonna put it on the big one, cast it out, and see if I can get a big fish. But first, I gotta catch some bait. So a lot of times you see people with a ton of... Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, I think it's swimming towards me now. Oh yeah, there's something on here. It's pulling. It's kicking. Nothing like coming out here and getting a fish like your first cast, second cast, third cast. It's so easy. All you need to do is have the right gear. What is this? Another trout. Another trout.
That's closer to keeper.
Wow, 3 trout so far on the high-low rig. That is so awesome. This might be a keeper. Let me check the length.
Let me see it really. Yeah.
Guess what?
What?
It's a keeper.
Well, how big is it?
15 inches.
Whoa. You gonna keep it?
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it. A keeper trout is right on the dot. That's so awesome. I love catching trout off the beach, especially on a rig like this. This is my lucky day. Back to what I was saying. Sometimes you see people with a massive rod collection and you wonder, why do you need so many rods? Well, most likely they're specialized rods. The really long rods are different than the medium-sized rods are different from the small-sized rods. And you're gonna use them differently, just like different tools in a toolbox. Okay, let's break it down. Really long rods, what are they about? I have a really long, oh my gosh. Whoa. I can't even get into my talk, I'm getting so many fish. Holy crap. This is so awesome. I think it's the spot that we picked. We're right at the cut. I see bait fish right out there. What is this? Another trout? This is the 4th trout. That is so crazy. I haven't caught this many trout on the beach since North Carolina. I think a lure would do really well out here. Really happy we're catching so many trout right now. That's the part I love about fishing and just beach fishing in general, is you never know what you're gonna catch out here. Versus like freshwater fishing is fun, but you know what you're gonna catch. It's gonna be a largemouth bass or a catfish, one or the other. With ocean fishing, you never know what you're gonna catch. So if you have an opportunity to go to the beach and cast out a rod, do it. You never know what you're gonna catch. Wow. It can cast it so far too. The action of this rod is a medium heavy power. So that's pretty much it. I've explained both ends of the extreme, really short rods, really tall, big rods, and then the perfect balance in the middle. Just a quick recap. These really tall, long rods, these are great for big fish, casting big baits. The heavier the power, the bigger the fish you're expecting to catch. So if you're looking to catch really big fish and casting out really big baits and really big weights, get a heavy power. A medium heavy is a great rod. 13 foot, 12 foot, 11 foot. These are all great rods for the beach. These are all great rods to cast out big things. With those big rods, I like to use big reels. So 5 to 8,000 to 14,000 size Shimano size, perfect. Up to 50 to 60 pound line, braid, perfect for these big rods. Down to the middle size, that are Hey Skipper rod I can recommend. I use that, the Hey Skipper rod, I recommend you using a 3,000 size to a 5,000 size using 15 to 20 pound braid. Good grief. They're messing with me. So in the middle of the spectrum, the really tall rods casting 6 to 10 ounces, even up to 12 ounces is a perfect size for my big rods. I'm catching sharks, I'm catching big red drums, I'm casting big baits really far. My medium sized, I'm casting about between 1 to 4 ounces, something like that. You don't need it too heavy. You want it to be nice and versatile, because the heavier the weights that the rod can throw, the less sensitive the rod. And I like a good balance right in between. This is 2 to 3.5 ounces. This is the perfect rod in my opinion. and down to the lowest end of the extreme, which is the small short rods. These are your inshore rods. It casts up to maybe 1 ounce. The one I'm using only casts up to a little bit over a half an ounce, but you're only using this to cast short casts and just searching around, casting out Carolina rigs, casting out little lures, and seeing if you can find medium-sized fish. Sure, you can catch some big fish on that, but it's really not optimal to catch massive-sized fish on a little reel like that. You end up fighting with the fish for too long, the fish gets too tired, and if you want to release it, it might die because it's just too long of a fight. Oh yeah, we're on. We're on. Yahoo! Let's guess. Maybe a whiting or maybe a catfish. But based on what we've been catching, could be a trout too. A small trout. I see it, it's coming up. It's coming up. Oh, it's a lady. A lady. That's bait fish for me. Now this is perfect to cut off the head and put onto that big rod that I have. See this big hook? This is why you want a big rod. You're gonna hook it into its head like this, right? Now I've got it attached to a big sinker here. This is our special orange Sputnik sinker, right? Now I can cast this whole bait out using this big rod and catch a massive fish. That's what I use my big rods for, an exact setup like this. I skipped the gory part and just cut the head off. Now we're gonna use this, we're gonna put the loop on here like this, and now it's a castable rig. Whereas before, if you don't put the loop on here, well, first of all, you need to have a Sputnik so that you can put it onto the grapple hook. If you don't, look how long that line is. It's gonna be so hard to cast that. You wanna shorten up that rig by putting it on here like this, and now I can really wing it out there far. Now I wanna walk it out as far as I can because I wanna get this out as far as I can. But a rod like this is strong enough to cast a big head like this. And that was a perfect cast. I anticipated catching a big fish on this. Now I set my drag loose, so if anything pulls it, it won't even know it's on the line. You want to set it loose, let it eat it, and when the fish starts to pull and run with it, you'll set the drag tighter, and then you start to fight it. But make sure you set the drag, because I've lost a rod setting it too tight and it just flies out of my rod holder. Bad idea. Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, we're on. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I just tied this up. I just casted it out. Right away. It's swimming towards me. It's moving to the left really fast. Whoa, whoa, whoa. All right, Aaron's gonna land it. Here we go. Pulling. It's swimming towards us. It is, it is. Oh, I see it, it's right here. Whoa. Walk back, Aaron. Whoa, this one looks kind of bluish, huh? This looks like a different color one. Is this a lemon shark? Whoa. Good job, Aaron. That was fun. Let me unhook it. Your arms are tired? I think this is a lemon shark. There we go.
Alright, let it go.
That's a cool looking shark.
Color of it.
It's like a yellow shark, isn't it?
It is.
Dang, it's spinning around. Wow, look at the color of it. It's like lime green. Good job, guys. Good job, Aaron. I just casted that one out too. So there you go. I didn't explain every single rod out there, but this is just a little crash course. It'll help you get on your way to finding the perfect rod for yourself. And hopefully, now you know the right direction to walk in. If you want to start fishing and you want to start getting your own rod, check out my website, heyskipperfishing.com. I got a ton of information on there. But also, if you have any questions that you want to ask me, I have a cell phone number that you can text, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I'll leave the cell phone number in the description below. See you guys.